Sheriff Todd Baxter. My name is Chris Chichester. I've never committed a crime. According to Merriam-Webster, the definition of a psychopath is a mentally unstable person. That's you. Second definition, which qualifies it. Especially a person having an egocentric and antisocial personality marked by a lack of remorse for one's actions and absence of empathy for others and often criminal tendencies. That's you. Especially a person having an egocentric and antisocial personality. There you are, New Year's Eve, walking around in Rochester, wallowing in narcissism. And I've read that story in the Democrat and Chronicle multiple times about what you're doing, walking around with employees in Rochester. Why? What's the reason? Why are we on Rochester on New Year's Eve with your employees, groupies, doing nothing? Because you want it to be recognized. You want it to be out in public. That's why you're a narcissist. And that's the story, as I'm looking for it, where you're quoted as having said you have a passion for jails. Isn't that right? Why would you possibly say you have a passion for jails? Because I don't get that at all. I mean, what is going through your mind, Sheriff Todd Baxter, when you tell a reporter, and you know the language is going to be in the newspaper, that you have a passion for jails? Why is that? How does that language exit your mouth, Sheriff Todd Baxter? Because here it is here. Momentary delay on our UHF channel where you say I have a passion for jails. So, a mentally unstable person says, I have a passion for jails, because what you're confessing as a mentally unstable person is you love suffering. I'm waiting for you psychopaths to bang on the door and scream my name outside. So if there's a banging on the door and someone's screaming my name of fanaticism, that's your disgusting, repulsive Jonestown, Todd Baxter. Do you have college students driving Monroe County Sheriff Office vehicles in the cadet program that are not full-time Monroe County Sheriff Office employees? Because in this story, you're confessing your sexual attraction to jails. How do we use the cadet program? There's only one cadet right now from the city school district. Why aren't there more cadets? And how do we use the training programs? Those are paid positions in the sheriff's office. So you can pay someone while they go through college. They're wearing uniforms, driving police cars from point A to point B, to getting to know staff, working with the budget people. Do you have college students that are not sworn Monroe County Sheriff Office employees, sworn in that they go through all the training and they are sworn in, they take an oath, and they're on the job with a weapon? So do you have college students that do not have weapons and are not sworn, wearing uniforms and driving your vehicles? And what's the answer? You'll have to answer that question for the United States Department of Justice. You refuse to answer me. I'm just a voter. I'm just a constituent. I'm just a citizen demanding information and answers from your bald head. Do you have college students driving your Monroe County Sheriff Office vehicles that are not sworn employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office and also not paid? And can they stop and detain citizens in Monroe County? What's the answer, Sheriff Todd Baxter? This right here is one of the 500 plus pieces of evidence that will lead to your re-election defeat. You will lose, either in the primary, the Democratic primary, right? That's your party, your new party. Because you talk too much. And this is a perfect example of it. I have a passion for jails. Answer after answer after answer is you talking too much. So, definition of a psychopath: a mentally unstable person. A mentally unstable person goes to 2025 Penfield Road, is the most powerful person in law enforcement in Monroe County, and puts a camera on the building to concoct the crime for an innocent citizen. That's your surveillance device that you bought and fixed the 2025 Penfield Road for me. And I was on it. I've now seen the images. You were lying about it repeatedly because it's easy to lie about it. Because you know that you can malign, embarrass, and humiliate me when I use the phrase surveillance device when it's your camera you bought and you fixed the 2025 Penfield Road. Because when I'm walking through this parking lot one day, Elliot Roth, who works at this business, says to me, "You're going to be arrested." And he says that to me because you bought that camera, also called a surveillance device, and fixed it to the building. I've seen multiple images now, but I have not seen the first one, which I've been demanding. And I demanded it 50 plus times. 50 plus times I demanded the first image. When I came outside, stood here, told it, a man on his tractor from Brock Hole Tree in Long Cat, nobody else, Atlanta walks back in my residence. How's that a crime? How's that criminal contempt second? Is your Jonestown concoction of a crime for me? That's not a crime, Todd Baxter. If you're asked by an employee of the United States Department of Justice, Sheriff Todd Baxter, how is it a crime for Christopher Chichester to exit his residence, stand here, tell a man on his tractor from Brock Hole Tree in Long Care no one owns the land next to his residence, walk back to his house? What's your answer? So, definition of a psychopath: a mentally unstable person puts a camera on a building to concoct a crime for an innocent citizen. A mentally unstable person says, "I have a passion for jails." A mentally unstable person comes to the home of an innocent man and demands his dog when all he's doing is walking his dog the same way for 7 years and 4,000 times. This is my little guy. He was with me for 8 years that I adopted from Mom and Pop Farm Humane Society. I was able to adopt him. So I passed the background check. My ex-girlfriend, Riley, and I went to Lollipop, and it was a terrific day for Laura and I. All I'm doing is walking my dog along this land here. I hear screaming from this repulsive shack, the Shaw Law Firm. I don't know what they're screaming at. I take my little guy in to go talk to them over here when I was allowed to walk through the parking lot without being arrested by your fanatics, degenerates, sociopaths. They refused to talk to me. An hour later, one phone call, screaming out that window. There you are to see my little guy. This is why people hate the police. When your bald head is staring at the television, there's rage at the police. Think about what I'm about to tell you. One phone call, and here you are, you two employees at my door with animal control, and he's got a 10-foot pole in his hand. And they're demanding my dog. I'm walking my dog the same way for 7 years and 4,000 times, twice a day, 3 times a day. It is a confrontation I've never had in my life. And I'm not afraid of confrontations, and I've been in them because it's unavoidable. When you've had a career like mine, when you've worked in politics in Albany, Washington, D.C., and you've been in the military. I've seen confrontations in the barracks between soldiers that were ferocious. So you're going to have confrontations throughout your life. It's just the way it is. I've never been in a confrontation like this one. Your employees are screaming at me and demanding my dog. Fanatic, degenerate, sociopath, Todd Baxter. I said, you have to kill me to take my little guy from me. How do you show up at my residence to demand my dog? Why don't you just call me? That's why the telephone exists, because this is why people hate the police. You want to exercise power over me, acquire my dog, go back to your Jonestown, and tell everybody else there while you're drinking your Kool-Aid how you came to the home of a citizen, demanded his dog, acquired his dog, and took his dog away from him to exercise power. That's exactly why you're here. That's why people hate the police. When I would open up the door, when I'd get home from a run or a bike ride, or anywhere I'd be in Monroe County, CSL Plaza where I donate, I'd walk in the door and his head would pop up in his dog bed. He'd run at me. I'd pick him up. I'd put him over my shoulder. I'd say, I miss you too. He had one of his, on his bottom teeth, he would have one tooth protruding. So when he would close his mouth, you could still see the bottom tooth sticking up above the fur on his lip where his whiskers would be. So I would look at him with his little tooth when he would close his mouth because the tooth was protruding like this. I used to say to him, you talk to your dog if you love your dog. I love your tooth. So anyway, my little guy. People love their dogs, Todd Baxter, and there you are demanding my dog. So a total disgrace. How did you get to my house? Well, that day I came outside, this guy Steve Desmond here. This guy here from Barcola Tree and Lawn Care. When I came outside, you used it as civilian. So this guy, Nayrod Sham, walked through the parking lot for the 4,000th time. He's up here screaming at me, losing his mind. As a civilian. Civilian's telling me I should be arrested. Elliot Ross says to me, I'm going to be arrested. So you put that camera on the building, another civilian. Then how'd you get here when I came outside? Because Shannon Meyer, just $67,000 a year criminal, fire her ass immediately. Call this guy. So that's 3 civilians that you use to concoct criminal contempt for me. Psychopath, Todd Baxter. Psychopath number 1, Todd Baxter. Steve Desmond, June 19, 2019. I didn't hear one word from this weed-whacking, grass-cutting loser that Shannon Meyer met with to concoct the crime for me. Steve Desmond, 2959 Brighton Henrietta Town Line Road, Rochester, New York, 14623. You're such a fucking loser that you spend your life cutting grass. I'll break the news to you about grass. When it's cut, wait for it, the grass goes back. I skip forward to the 3rd graph. You called the Monroe County Sheriff's Office when it came outside for all 30 seconds to tell you and your toothless fellow loser that shot Sean Roth down on that land. You took the phone out and immediately there were 6 deputy fast stooges at my house. I sent this to Nate Roger Lander Kumar Shah. The language says, tell your toothless fellow losers shot Sean Roth down on that land. They don't own that land. So, Todd, I got something going on with my hair here. It's not in place like it usually is. So I usually use this LA Looks. I know it's the same product that you use. You see, they got the blue gel here. It's all the way down to the bottom here on this LA Looks. See, I squeezed it all the way out, Extreme Sport. And you see the blues down here. And Todd, what you can do is you can also use some LA Looks here on your glorious hair up here. Because here's your official photograph here of you at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Baxter. And so I recommend you go to your Wegmans Food Market's headquarters and you buy some LA Looks here. You squeeze a little in your hair, in your hand for your hair. And then you put it right up here on your hair up here, Todd. And you're going to look sensational because Mrs. Fascist Stooge is going to love it, when she sees that photograph of you, Todd. And I also have to tell you, Todd, you're hanging around with individuals that are a bad influence on you. So, again, LA Looks Extreme Sport. And these individuals are a bad influence on you, Todd. If they're in Berlin, Germany here. And here he is right here. And I don't quite know, what this guy that's having such a bad influence on you is doing here. I don't get this little square mustache he's got going on here. He's got this greaseball haircut. He tries to be a phony tough guy here. I mean, what's his name? I don't get it. I mean, why are you hanging around with this guy right here? He's got some oddball ideas about his bunker that he likes to spend time in. And he's got some, stalker obsessive girlfriend. And he's got 1 testicle. So I don't quite get why this guy is such an inspiration for you. So now, Sheriff Baxter, who am I harassing when my head is snapped back at the gym? I'm going in and out the funk, Peter up fitness on the bench press. Jermaine Bettman stands over me, punches down, my head snaps back, go out to the vehicle. Andrew Reality marches Jermaine Bettman around to the side of the vehicle. He says, I want to press charges against you. I'm sitting in the backseat of Andrew Reality's police vehicle charged with harassment second. Why is he still employed? How many times do I have to say this to you? If he's doing this to me, he's going to do this to other people. Shannon Meyer's concocting criminal contempt for me being outside for 30 seconds using a civilian to get here. What is she doing to other citizens? The blue wall of Todd Baxter is going to want to protect your own employees because that's what you corrupt cops do. You will identify a corrupt cop and protect the corrupt cop, and that's why you're the blue wall of Todd Baxter, not just you. That goes on in New York City. You've seen and read about Frank Serpico and what he went through in New York City. You'll see the blue wall of the New York City Police Department, and that's why it's called the blue wall of silence. Because cops, and your cops at the sheriff's office, will break the law and engage in corrupt behavior, and it will be covered up. It's a blue wall of silence. And that's exactly what you're doing at the sheriff's office. I walked into Penfield Town Court, Sandra Doorly. How many times do I have to demand this? The prosecutor didn't talk in court twice, and I was delivered to court to jail twice. So you know what an assistant district attorney is, Sandra Doorly, that stands in Penfield Town Court and doesn't talk twice, is delivered to jail, first in Monroe County Jail, next in Livingston County Jail, is a mentally unstable person. An assistant district attorney at the district attorney's office in Monroe County that doesn't talk in court is a mentally unstable person, especially a person having an egocentric and antisocial personality marked by a lack of remorse for one's actions, an absence of empathy for others, and often criminal tendencies. That's a criminal act. For your assistant district attorney to stand there and not make an argument, the reason why there's no argument from your two assistant district attorneys, I haven't committed a crime. So, you, Sandra Doorly, need to pick up Random House, because there's Merriam-Webster and then there's Random House. And we go to the definition of a psychopath, a person having a character disorder distinguished by amoral, antisocial behavior without feelings, without remorse, psychopathic person. Amoral, antisocial behavior. That's you, the district attorney's office, the sheriff's office. So, I leave my residence. What's Don Benedetto doing here, Todd Baxter? He's here stalking me. He paid this guy $85,000, loaning me 5 other fanatics, Jennifer Sociopath. 6 of you walking around my residence on August 30th. They're outside using my name, talking about me. They hit on the private property of my neighbor near her bedroom window when she sleeps. I exit my residence at midnight. They come running at me. I turn around and run away. I grab the hammer alongside the residence. I used to fix my bike. I run back in up through the back porch. He grabs my arm. The hammer I just grabbed goes up. I run back into my residence. How's that a felony? How's that a crime? How am I committing a felony on my back porch? Attempted assault? I'm not attempting anything. I have never attempted to assault anyone. I've never assaulted anyone. He grabbed my arm. The hammer I just grabbed went up, and I ran back into my residence. If I wanted to assault him, I would have cracked the hammer down on his head and he would have been unconscious on my back porch. And then you would have definitely had to explain what the hell you're doing here. Now you just lie about it and say, we don't know what he's talking about. I've never engaged in violence. I would never swing a hammer at anyone. I've never swung a hammer at anybody or used any type of tool to engage in violence. I have never committed a violent act, a violent crime ever in my long life. He's lying. And you're a liar. So he fits in perfectly at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. I'm waiting until he starts screaming my name, banging on the door. If there's banging on the door, screaming, you arrived, Todd Baxter. So, no one knows that land. I don't know how many times I have to tell you. So, walk through the parking lot, Shannon Meyer. Do you want to arrest my neighbors? So, you, Todd Baxter, afraid to open your mouth from me. That's when I was demanding the payroll. That's a long time ago, June 15, 2019. When I first started demanding the payroll and you refused to open your mouth. John P. Lomenzo Jr., demanding information from him on how he released child rapists Daniel Lobster III. He's afraid to open his mouth. Nate Rashad, prove you own that land. He's afraid to open his mouth. I already knew that they don't own that land. Nate Rashad again, over and over and over. And here's this guy, Steve Devins, back to him. He doesn't want to open his mouth because you use this civilian to come to my residence. How many times do I have to demand this, you bald-headed, wig-wearing criminal Paula Metzler and James C. Mully Jr. in Penfield Town Court, the name, charge, and sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court for John P. Lomenzo, James C. Mully Jr., and Paula Metzler. Paula Metzler and James C. Mully Jr., you know what you are in refusing to provide me a list of defendants in Penfield Town Court, the name, charge, and sentence. You're a definition of a psychopath, a mentally unstable person. That's you, Paula Metzler. Especially a person having an egocentric and antisocial personality marked by a lack of remorse for one's actions, an absence of empathy for others, and other criminal tendencies. That's you, Paula Metzler. So, James C. Mully Jr., Jermaine Benman snaps my head back. The Jim has to appear before you. There's a deal between Jessica Wagner, the district attorney's office, the attorney for Jermaine Benman, to let him walk right out the door. This violent criminal attacked me, walk right out the door. James C. Mully Jr., does Jermaine L. Benman have a prior criminal record? What's the answer to that question? District Attorney Sandra Doorly. Why is Jessica Wagner working at the district attorney's office? Do I have that right? Because the list of salaries that I have at the district attorney's office, when I went to the W's, because that's the first name I went to when I acquired the payroll. I went right to the W's for Jessica Wagner, and she's not there. Why is that? District Attorney Sandra Doorly, because here it is. Is Jessica Wagner still employed at the Monmouth County District Attorney's Office? Terry Duckles. There's the W's. One. So I got A. Suzanne Wicker, 35,403. Mary Wilmot, 40,089. Ian Winter, 39,363. So, and the one right above that is Sarah Van Stradek, $113,465. You will not survive re-election if you run for re-election. And the salary of Sarah Van Stradek is made public, $113,465. How many people in Monroe County have this payroll? And this payroll, because this is your re-election defeat, Sandra Doorly and Todd Baxter. So, I'm demanding information from you over and over and over as a duly elected district attorney and sheriff of Monroe County, and you're refusing, which is attached again, such as have you used textiles to settle employment-related discrimination lawsuits to fair to comply with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. But when you want information at the sheriff's office and district attorney's office, that information better be acquired by you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, and your employees, and you, District Attorney Sandra Doorly, and your employees, or your wrath will be visited upon the individuals that are refusing to provide that information. You do whatever you want, Monroe County. It includes total and absolute contempt for the law. So, now, Sandra Doorly, what do you think about Sheriff Todd Baxter buying his camera, also called surveillance device, and putting it on 2025 Panther Road from me? What do you think about that? What do you think about that descent on my life, character, integrity? Sandra Doorly, is this the lunatic fringe? If you drive down Penfield Road toward Wegmans and Target and Cam's Pizza, you make a right on Sanders Farm Drive, and then you drive through the park and look to the left, you'll see this. There's not a high crime area in Penfield. There's hardly any crime in Penfield. And that's why my ex-girlfriend-in-law and I moved from Webster, because it's safe. That's for me. So, and Todd Baxter, you're also refusing to tell me the name of your public employee supported by the taxpayers that violently attacked me outside Wegmans, which I've described over and over and over to you. I walked in front of Wegmans. Your 5 vehicles converged upon me after I left Canada with National Bank and drew $40 to bring it up to $61.39. One of them ran at me, lowered his shoulder, knocked me down. My head slammed against the concrete pavement. I had to go to an MRI. I get out of the MRI tube, deposit in front of Paula Metzler. She declares me guilty without any due process, without Miranda being read to me, without any observance of my civil and constitutional rights. I'm declared guilty by this disgusting hack, and then I'm in Livingston County. Todd Baxter, Sandra Doorly, why am I in jail in Livingston County? And then I'm not told how long I'm going to be there. Isn't that right, Paul Metzer? I'm in jail in Livingston County as an innocent man that's never committed a crime, and day after day after day. How long am I going to be here? How long am I going to be here? How long am I going to be here? And I'm not told because the judge is holding you. How's that constitutional? How is it constitutional for you, you repulsive, nauseating, disgusting, criminal, sick hack, Paula Metzer, to hold me in Livingston County jail? It's not, because it's the lunatic fringe, and that's exactly where you reside, Paula Metzer. So, Todd Baxter, send me all the information I'm demanding. That's all you have to do. And the fact that you're refusing is confirmation that you're a psychopath and a mentally unstable person. There's no doubt about the fact that you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, are a psychopath, and you, District Attorney Sandra Doorly, are a psychopath, because you each meet the dictionary definition of psychopath. My name is Christopher Chichester. I've never committed a crime.